Mindset, a daily dose of practical wit and wisdom with a professional educator and trainer, Amazon best-selling author, United States Marine, television and radio host, Paul G. Markle. Each episode will focus on positive and productive ways to strengthen your mindset and help you improve your relationships, career goals, and overall well-being. Please welcome your host, Paul G. Markle.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right back into the very next morning mindset episode. Let's talk about priorities. Oh, man, I'm just about to touch on some nerves. Yes, indeed. And if this touches on some nerves, well, you know what? I'm not Mr. Rogers, and I'm not here to say what you want me to say. I'm here to say what needs to be said. Everyone has priorities. Everyone has them. How many times have you been told, or were you admonished as a child or a teenager by your parents or teachers or what have you, that you needed to get your priorities right? You needed to get your priorities straight. And of course, you didn't like hearing that when you were a teenager or a child or what have you. You didn't like it when someone told you that you needed to get your priorities right. Even if it was true, even if it probably was a fact, you didn't like hearing it. But then you become an adult, and you're in charge of your own life, and you can do whatever you want, and you can do whatever you want whenever you want. So your priorities are your own decision. Congratulations. How often do you say the words, "I don't have time for"? I don't have time. Someone suggests that you read a book, and you say, "I don't have time to read." You look in the mirror, or you look at the scale, and you say to yourself, "You know what? I need to get rid of," if you're honest, you say, "Oh, I need to get rid of 10 pounds. I need to get rid of 20 pounds. I need to get rid of 30 pounds. But I don't have time to exercise. I don't have time for fitness or gym or whatever. Don't have time for it." Do you really not have time for it? Or are other things in your life higher on your priority list? Now, as a professional instructor and trainer, I encounter this all the time. I think I told you guys the story of the woman who called me up. This was many years ago. I was doing essentially defensive handgun, concealed carry handgun introductory training classes. It was an all-day class. It was from 9 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock in the afternoon with a lunch break and so on and so forth. I was doing it at a local indoor range. And my phone rang, and there was a woman on the other end. And she said, "Hi, I got your number from the range, and they said you're the teacher for the gun class that's coming up next Saturday." I'm like, "Yep, that's correct." "Well, do we have to stay the whole time at the class?" And I was kind of taken back. I was like, yeah, you really need to be there the whole time." "Oh, well, because Saturday's my hair appointment day, and I was just wondering if I could just come for part of the day." No, you cannot just come for part of the day. And she didn't come. She didn't show up to the class because she had different priorities. You see, learning how to effectively use a handgun for personal defense was not a priority that she had. Getting her hair done was the priority. And I'm guessing that she got her hair done and that her hair probably looked really nice, and it would probably look really nice in her casket because she had different priorities. And I share that story with fellow trainers and instructors, and they all laugh and they shake their heads because they know. They've heard that type of thing before. Maybe not that thing specifically, but that was an issue of priorities. How many of you know that there's something that you should be doing? You should be, whether it's training or losing weight or getting more fit or whatever. You know that you should. But you give yourself the excuse. You say to yourself, "Well, I don't have time for that." Or I don't have time for that now. Maybe in the future I will. And I say, when people tell me, they say, I don't have time for that now, but, maybe later. And I say, later when? And they say, oh, I don't know, after I'm done with blank. You fill in the blank here. After I get through this, or after I get through that, or after I get, whatever. And I say, okay, well then put it on your calendar right now. Whatever it is that you're putting off, if you say that you need 2 weeks, then put it on your calendar for 2 weeks from now. If you say that you can't do that until your kids go back to school, that's a famous parental excuse. Oh, you understand? I can't do that. And when my kids go back to school. Okay. What day do your kids go back to school? Oh, they go back August 28th. All right. Write August 29th on your calendar that you're going to start doing that. Well, what? Well, what are your priorities? How many times have you said, oh, I know I should be reading more, and I know that book is I should be reading that book or this book or what have you. I just don't have time. I don't have time. How many times a day do you pick up your phone, open your social media app, and get lost in Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat or whatever it is? Be honest. Well, some of you are telling me never. Some of you are saying, I never do that. And I say, okay, cool. But how many of you literally waste 10 to 15 to 20 minutes a day, maybe a cumulative 30 or 40 or an hour a day? Is that hour something, or half hour? Could you have picked up a book and read for 30 minutes? Yeah. Successful habits, successful priorities. I think I shared this with you guys previously. Well, I don't know if I shared it on Morning Mindset or not, but when I was working as a professional bodyguard, I was working for a gentleman who was the CEO of a corporation, and he was a billionaire, not a millionaire, a billionaire with a B. And one of the habits that this man, who was very successful, had was he would never waste time deliberately. He always had something to read available to him. Now, he didn't stop what he was doing. He didn't, stop something else to read. But if he had time where he had to wait, if he had to wait for other people, or if he had to wait for a flight, or if he was on a flight or in a car or what have you, if he had time when he couldn't be doing anything else, he always made sure that he had something to read. So he had 15 minutes that he had to wait. So he would pull something out of his briefcase, whether it was a paperback book or a stock report or something, and he would read it because he didn't want to waste time. He spent time with his wife and he spent time with his children, but he didn't like to waste time. And he had his priorities pretty tight. So my question to you is, what are your priorities? Do you know that you're supposed to be doing something, or that you should be doing something to improve your life, but your priorities are out of whack? It's up to you. Everyone has priorities. Some of them are different. Some of them are productive, and some of them aren't. So there you go. That is the question for today. What exactly are your priorities, and do you need to rearrange them in order to lead a more positive and productive life? All right, folks, I am your host, Paul Markle, and I will talk to you again real soon.
Thank you for spending time with us today. To get show notes, submit a topic request, and for more from your host, Paul G. Markle, visit morningmindsetpodcast.com. That's morningmindsetpodcast.com. Please leave a review for this podcast on your favorite podcast player. We appreciate your time and effort, and we look forward to reading your honest feedback.